Hiya! Welcome to LSB Feasters Radio Channel, where we keep great radio from the past alive. Today we're going to Dallas, Texas, and a legendary air personality, the one and only Kidd Kraddick. Kidd was the creator of the Kidd Kraddick Morning Show, which ran for years and years. It was one of the most listened to CHR morning shows in America, and his numerous accolades include America's Best Radio Personality, Radio and Records Major Market Personality of the Year, and the Distinguished Marconi Award for Radio Personality of the Year. Before making it to Dallas, Kidd spent time on the air in Miami, in Salt Lake City, in Los Angeles, and in Tampa before taking his show to Dallas, where his popularity took off. In 2001, his show went national. Kidd Kraddick in the Morning rose to the top of the ratings in almost every market they were in. Sadly, he passed away in July 2013 while at an event to raise money for his beloved charity, Kidd's Kids. The show continued on with Kidd's partners, just continuing his morning tradition. This Aircheck features the first appearance his morning show did after Kidd's passing. It was an emotional show, and I can't imagine how hard it had to be to do for the crew. So let's check it out. It's the Kidd Kraddick Morning Show on Kiss 106.1 Dallas.
It's Gavin DeGraw, remembering Kidd Kraddick. I met Kidd for the first time about 10 years ago. I was touring on my first album, Chariot. I went to the studio and he had me in there and met him and Big Al and everybody, and I sat at the keyboard and performed for him for the first time, and he really championed my record very early on, and I always appreciate him for that. Then kept in touch here and there over the years. Then the last time I saw him, we were in Dallas doing a show, and I let him know I was in town, and we met up and had a little dinner at a little Mexican restaurant and talked about the biz and life, and he really had great insight, and he was a great mentor. He really did his best to help new talent get a shot, and he really enjoyed championing people's music and giving them an opportunity to be heard. Just as good at being serious in life as he was at joking about it.
Used to ride, oh chariot.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Howdy, baby.
For the first time ever, we are Kidd Kraddick in the Morning without Kidd Kraddick.
Yep. He's here. He's here.
And I'm Kelly Raspberry. And
I'm Big Al.
I'm JC.
JC.
I'm Jenna.
And we don't really know what we're going to say this morning.
This was
and Shannon, let's put
Shannon's here
Shannon.
too. White Cheddar's here. Everybody's here.
Everybody's here.
We don't really know how to go about this.
We've never had this happen before. When we left on Friday, I was as mad as fire at Kidd Kraddick.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to say fire right there.
Keeping with the tradition, I left angry on Friday.
Mm-hmm. And
but here we are today, and
but y'all made up.
Yeah, we made up.
He wrote
in
on
the Kidd and Kelly Raspberry way, they made up.
Yeah.
And I knew what it felt like to be divorced, and now I feel like I know what it's like to be a widow. You know.
Yeah, I hear you.
For 19 years. Kidd brought me in from Florence, South Carolina. I didn't know anything. I didn't know who Kidd Kraddick was.
I hear you.
And when he hired me, and then I started going around town with him, and people were treating him like this rock star. And I finally looked at him one day. I said, "Are you important?"
Little did you know.
He's like, "Well, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal." And he was a big deal, and he's responsible for every good thing I have in my life. If I hadn't come to Dallas, I wouldn't have all of you as my friends. You want to boil it down, I wouldn't have Emma Kelly, because I would have never met her father. And so, every good thing I have in my life, my career is because of him, and we're just beyond devastated that we honestly didn't know this was going to happen. This was such a shock to everyone. I know there's so many rumors flying around out there that we were all keeping a secret or something, but this truly was a shock.
Sure.
And I think, the first thing I asked the doctor, what I wanted to know was, did he suffer? And was he afraid? And the doctor said no. So I think that his
didn't suffer.
His
didn't
fans
feel any pain.
Want to know that.
He didn't feel any pain whatsoever.
He had a great we were in New Orleans, and we were there for a Kids Golf tournament, which is, we were talking about just everything from the past week has been so incredibly ironic. Last Monday, he opened the show with Deathbed Confessions. It's like, what the hell kind of freaky deaky stuff was going on in the universe.
Yeah.
That was not like he was not sending out any secret signal he didn't know. And it was just one of those ironic things. We've done things like that in the past. Mm-hmm. And then we go to New Orleans for a Kids Golf tournament, which, was the thing closest to his heart. All he's been doing, for the past few years is how is Kids going to continue, beyond me. And it will. It will. And the night before the tournament, that man likes to, let's be honest, he likes to shoot craps. And so he spent his last night shooting craps, and he had so much fun. I don't know if you ran into Kid Kraddick on the streets in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, but the next morning he was showing us videos of him just having so much fun.
He did a bit while we were in New Orleans.
Yeah, he did a bit.
He was with JC and Jenna. Jenna, were you there? I'm not sure.
No, and I wasn't there because that's what I do. I never went because I wanted Kid to have a good time.
Yeah.
And so that was my gift to him, was not going.
Well, he came up with this, the guy that can't have fun at parties character. And so he was just out on Bourbon Street and everybody's drinking and having fun and smiling. And then Kid's just kind of sitting in the middle of the street, just kind of slumped over with a serious face.
The funniest videos ever. We'll have
hopefully we'll be able to do that.
The guy that can't have fun.
The guy that just can't have fun.
He's in a bar on Bourbon Street and everybody's dancing around and throwing beads and he's just standing there.
So he's in New Orleans. He got to shoot craps. He's out on the street doing bits, which is what was near dear to his heart. The next day, we were going to a kids golf tournament, and unfortunately he became ill right before the tournament began.
Sweating and
it all happened so
it
fast.
just happened so quickly, and at first we thought it was
well, we didn't think anything about it. It was warm and muggy in New Orleans like it always is, so we're like, we didn't think it was a huge deal.
We thought he just went to the hospital because he was dehydrated, but he died doing what he loved doing. The last thing he did before he died was he hit golf balls. Jenna was there with him when he was hitting golf balls.
I know we're all going to share. I'm having a really hard time putting feelings into words. I haven't even really wanted to process what's going on because I've never lost someone that knew me better than anyone, so close. But I just want to go ahead, since Kelly's telling the story about some of the last moments. I did not go out the night before, and Kid and I really shared this love for golf. And I know I'm a girl, and it's crazy that I would love it. And amongst all the things he taught me how to play golf. And I went and headed to the range with him, and the rest of the cast hated golf and hated him talking about it. And I knew,
well, that's a little extreme.
Well, I
Jenna.
can't hit. I want to be good at sports, and I can't be good at golf.
Drinking a
I know,
beer.
and you know what? And I it's just something I always really wanted to be good at. And so I went ahead and headed to the range with him, and just in case, because he said he wasn't feeling good, and I thought, well, maybe in my hipster clothes and skirt and high heels, I can try and do the first tee at this kids golf tournament if he's not feeling well. And he got out there and just started swinging away, and he wasn't feeling good. He's like, I don't feel good. And George and I told him to take a step back. And of course, like always, he needed to finish on a good shot. So he hit it about 300 yards. He'll say it was 350. So let's just stick with that. And he handed me the driver and went and sat down in the cart. And I hit a terrible shot and and then I sat there and thought, all right, think about all the things kids taught you over the years just about golf. So I just thought stance and hands and hips, and I mean, I drove the ball so unbelievably straight and 200 yards, let's call it 250. And I looked at him and he said, great shot, and gave me a big thumbs up. And that ended up being the last words that he ever said to me. And I'm so happy that's what it was, because I wish I could tell him that it wasn't just that golf shot that was great. It was the shot he gave me 5 years ago to come in here and be a part of this with everyone, because that's really the great shot.
Yeah, when I met Kid the first time at the airport, he picked me up at DFW Airport, and I was expecting someone else, and the man that was supposed to pick me up described himself as 6'4", and this little guy was up behind me and says, "Are you Kelly Raspberry?" I said, "You're short." And those were my first words to Kid Kraddick.
And his
last words to me was, "Does Kelly Raspberry wake up in the morning and say, I think I might have my picture taken next to Kid Kraddick today, so I'm going to wear my highest heel?" And I said, yes, I do it on purpose.
That's awesome.
But, I know people listen to Kid and me and all of it. I mean, but, we fought like a married couple, and just like a real married couple, we didn't have sex. So it was like a real marriage.
You'll admit to.
So, but I love him. I'm not saying loved in the past tense. I love him. And I'm just really just heartbroken. I don't know, everybody's got questions. We don't have any answers. We don't know.
No, we're just here to talk, to chill, to talk, and to laugh, and
I know everybody's feeling
cry a
what we're
little bit.
feeling.
Yeah. And I got goosebumps just walking from the parking garage to the door.
Well, somebody parked in my parking space.
Me.
I just want to say JC, but I parked in Kid's parking space.
Okay.
So
I
I feel
figured
a little
you
bit
would.
better with that.
All right.
But JC was really touched because, the very last thing that Kid did on the air, his last moment on the air was, that beautiful letter that a listener wrote about JC.
Well, I saw Kid as a dad, as a father figure, and a kid always wants to make their father proud. And the fact that my last break on the radio with Kid Kraddick is a break where his last words to me were, "I am so proud of you," is something that I will always cherish.
Awesome, yeah.
And I couldn't. It's like a movie script almost. You can't even plan it for it to be that way. And I just kept thinking of that all weekend long. That is that I've spent my entire 20s working with Kid and just wanting to make him proud, because he took such a gamble with me, hiring me at 23 years old with minimal experience when it comes to doing major market radio or syndication. I didn't even know how big he was until I went into my old boss and told him, "Hey, Kid Kraddick wants to interview me." And my boss flipped out. He's like, "Can you give me an autograph?" And I was like, "What? You want this dude's autograph? He's just a DJ like us." He's like, "No, dude, this is Kid Kraddick. He's like one of the godfathers of radio." And so now I'm nervous coming in here and just being able to work with him the last 10 years or 7 years. And my 20s, he molded me into the man I am today.
That's awesome.
Seeing him as a father and hearing the bits, because I wasn't here while Caroline was young, but just hearing the bits and just seeing how great of a person he was, that's what I wanted to strive to be. and for him to say, "I'm proud of you," was just a culmination of everything that he's taught me.
It's beautiful.
Shannon, do you want to say anything? Psycho Shannon came in as an intern, and the reason she's psycho is because she scared us all to death. We really thought she was going to kill us and eat us piece by piece.
There's no evidence that she did not slash that girl's tires that day.
But Shannon came as an intern, and she would just not leave, and Kid had no choice but to finally hire her.
There's no evidence that I did either. I came into this business at 17. I have known Kid my entire adult life. And when I was 17, I was a brat. I was selfish. I was awful.
No.
And, I might not be that great now, but I think I've come a long way. And I was thinking, I didn't go to the golf tournament with you guys because my younger sister is moving to Maui tomorrow, and she and I are very close. And I was planning on spending the weekend with her, but she went on a girls' trip. And so I flew up to Illinois. And yesterday, driving back, I couldn't get a flight back to Dallas. Driving back, I was thinking, he's like a dad to me. And we didn't always get along. And we weren't always very nice to each other. I think the last words that he said to me, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, please don't let them be bad.
Shannon! Was it something like that?
I think it was on Flush the Format on Friday, and he didn't like the last song.
Oh, yeah, that was a
It was kind of a slow song.
It was kind of a crappy song, Shannon.
Come on, you got to be a better DJ than that.
And he thought that I had mixed it, and I had no part of it. I was just like, I didn't do it.
Oh, you blamed Trey, didn't you?
In natural form, it wasn't my fault, but that man, it just doing a lot of the work behind the scenes and knowing what a perfectionist he was aggravating to the nth degree. Like, it was really upsetting knowing that perfection wasn't possible with him. But I know that the reason that he was that way is because he wanted to give back to people, and he wanted it to be the best that it could be. And he worked really hard to surround himself with people that shared his vision. And, you know, I grew up listening to Kidd. Kidd has been in my life for as long as I can remember. I was fortunate enough to come and work for him for 14 years, and I was that stalker listener when I was in high school, emailing, asking if I could come and watch the show, and I never got a reply. But
You just showed up.
it was more about letting Kidd and Kelly know that they were part of my life, and then they really became part of my life. And like a lot of people don't know, when I lost my nephew a couple years ago, Kidd was he held me while I cried, and he knew that we were not financially prepared for that, and he took care of it. And I don't think that he knows the stress that he saved my sister, who's also my best friend, and what that meant to me. And I could never repay him. I know it was just a little bit of money, but it made such a difference in my family's life. And I know there's nobody else like him. And I know, hindsight, I wish that I had gone with you guys to the golf tournament, but with my sister leaving,
Hannah, you didn't know. It's okay.
I didn't. And I got the call. I got a text from Al that said to call Kelly, and Kelly wanted to be the person to tell me what happened, and I'm so glad. I'm so grateful to have you in my life and to know that I can count on you for anything. And I know I'm talking for a really long time, and I'm sorry.
It's okay, Shannon.
I thought of a story this morning that didn't really even mean much at the time. I honestly, I feel like there's so much pressure right now. There's so many of you outside and every news station, and I think everyone looks at us like we know what to say always. And that Kidd, it always seemed like he knew exactly what to say no matter what was going on. And honestly, none of us, no matter how professional I think you are, know what to say right now. And I feel like I'd be letting Kidd down, like we don't have the right words.
We
Like
gotta
Shannon-
keep in mind that he has family.
Yeah.
He's got Caroline, and he's got family that we have to consider on all this. And, while it would be great to be able to talk and dish or whatever, we have to be respectful of them first and foremost, because that's what he would want.
We'll also be taking some calls from some of you guys. Just going to be hanging out, and you can express your thoughts, tell stories, whatever you want to do. Just give us a call, 800-KID-LIVE. That's 800-543-3548.
800-5-GEEK-IT.
And we'll be back.